Wow.
Wow, what an intro, what a house. We're just like so grateful to have an audience.
I know.
Like anyone here.
I feel like when we planned this, we really didn't know if we would sell any tickets.
I don't. We are so grateful. Like you really can't have a podcast without people that actually listen to it. So we are very grateful for all of you for listening, for showing up tonight. As many of you know, everything we make tonight is going to two local charities. One is Win NYC, which provides housing and support for homeless families here in NYC. And yes. And the other is the Ali Forney Center, which provides shelter and health services for the LGBTQ youth community here in New York. So thank you for supporting those nonprofits. And we may have mentioned this on the show. 342 is going to match whatever we make tonight. We're also going to give to those two charities as well. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys. So JJ, you've had a slow week.
Yeah, we didn't plan this right.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the small elephant in the room?
Yeah, we should. So we planned this event several weeks ago. I did not plan to retire the day before several weeks ago. So I really, people around me know this. I came to this conclusion probably 12 days ago. I had crystal clear, vision and clarity on this, and I just wanted to get it done before the season started, before training camp and media day started, so people would stop fucking asking me where I was going to play.
There were a lot of people in New York asking. It was pretty much a daily.
I had this amazing moment, and for anybody that listens to the show, it's not a surprise. It happened on a golf course. But it happened 2 Saturdays ago. I was playing in a member guest at Sabonic, and this guy had been eyeing me all day, and he walks by me, and he says to me, "Come play for the Knicks."
Wow, the Knicks boost.
Yeah, and my immediate response, I don't even know why I said this, but I was just like this. I was like, "Nah, man, I'm retired." And it was at that moment. When I knew I was ready. So, if anybody watched the video yesterday, I want you to know that I nailed that in one take. That whole video. The editing was bad.
Is Jason here? Jason, can you chime in? I think we might have something queued.
Welcome to a very special episode of The Old Man and the Three. Who fucking cares? All right. Never could have imagined that I would have played basketball for this long. Of course, Coach K, Chris Collins, Steve Wojciechowski, Johnny Dawkins, and all the amazing people at Duke for helping me grow and letting me. I'm gonna have to edit this. Why is this so weird? Lastly, I just want to say, why is this so fucking hard? It's not even a big deal. You have to edit a lot of this, bud. It was an interesting time in my professional career because I was fighting for my place in the NBA. But over the last 13 years, she's been my best friend, my biggest supporter. To my boys, Knox and Kai. Just Jason and Tommy. The best years of my career have been as a dad. You guys are everything to me. Thank you, and thank you for, as always, for listening to the pod. Let's bring on Tommy for a couple questions. It was an emotional 24 hours for me. I've recovered, though, so no tears tonight. We've got a great show for you guys. We have 4 guests for you tonight, actually.
Stacked crew.
Yeah, we have our OM3, Old Man in the 3 correspondent, Tyrese Haliburton, who flew all the way up. We've got brand new Brooklyn net Patty Mills. And we're going to try a 6-person draft tonight. We've also got Desus from the hit show Desus and Mero. And we've got our favorite sports reporter, Taylor Rooks. So why don't we bring out Tyrese Haliburton? Let's go.
Tyrese. Did he leave?
Tommy, we were joking, right?
Yeah.
Tyrese.
So we actually don't have any guests tonight.
We're not sure. Yeah, it's fine. We're going to banter for a little bit. Tyrese has actually had a terrific 24 hours in New York so far.
We've taken him to a bunch of the spots.
Yeah, we took him to Lilia last night. We took him to Nene's Tacos tonight. Which, by the way, for anyone that's been to Nene's, I know we plugged it a little bit on the pod. Nene's is opening a stall at Barclays this year. So you will be able to watch the Nets and get Nene's, which is a pretty killer combo.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We went today. So do you want to briefly tell, I know we told it on the pod, but do you want to tell the, there he is. This guy.
Tyrese Haliburton.
Welcome. How was the nap?
Wow.
No, because you guys said my name, and then I was like starting to walk out, and like Desus and Patty were like, no, not yet. So then I was like, okay, I'm sitting here talking to Patty, and Jason walked back there. He's like, yo, they're repeating your name multiple times. So I'm here now.
We were just talking about your 24 hours in New York.
Yeah, it's been a
So
great
far.
time. It's been a great time.
What's your number one highlight so far?
Oh, the tacos today, by far. They were amazing. And they sold everything in that taco restaurant, from toilet paper to
It's a real store.
toilet paper to chocolate to tacos to condoms. They had everything there.
Tyrese went on a little shopping spree.
I did. I went to Stadium Goods, got a couple pair of shoes. And last night I was playing 2K till like 2 a.m., so it's been a great time.
People make fun of white people for not knowing what a bodega is. I think that was a bodega, right?
Yes.
With a taco place inside.
I have no idea what a bodega is, but it very well could have been, yes.
All right. Tyrese is on the show all the time. You guys have heard him before. I haven't asked you on the show before, but what are you most looking forward to in year 2 of your NBA career, coming off a 3rd place in the Rookie of the Year voting?
I would probably say like taking another big step. Like I've spent a lot of this summer, obviously recovering from my injury, in the weight room, in the gym, film work, just a lot of different things. So just taking another big step. I think going into my 2nd year, I move up in the scouting report. There's gonna be better defenders on me and stuff. So just looking forward to taking on that challenge.
The obvious next question for me when you talk about taking a next step is, have you started jumping on your 3-point jump shot?
I have not.
Those that don't know,
Will you start?
Tyrese jumps on any shot inside the 3-point arc, and then he takes about 3 seconds on a set shot to shoot behind the arc.
I jump.
I didn't even know you jumped till we played you in person.
No, I jump when I shoot, don't I? Yes, I do. I go like this off the
This
ground.
is a really funny way to find this out.
It's a jump. I jump. I don't jump.
You and I have texted about this. We've texted about this.
I jump.
Okay.
Tyrese, the thing you have to understand.
You don't shoot a free throw from the 3-point line.
I don't physically have the upper body strength to not jump. I have to jump a little bit. I have to.
What game-wise, what's next? What do you need to add?
I would say like the next big step is just being able to guard multiple positions. I think that's going to come from like working on my body the right way. But drafting Davion, we're going to run a lot of 3 guards this year, so I don't think they're going to expect me to guard the bigger threes, the LeBrons and Kawhis of the world right now. But with that 3-guard lineup, I'm definitely going to be asked to, rebound at a high level and, put my body on the line a little bit more.
Normally on the pod, I am the host, and Tommy is the co-host, and we interview a subject. Today, we're going to flip the script a little bit. And in celebration of my retirement, Tommy and Tyrese, and with the help of Jason, of course, have put together a list of several words.
Little word
association we're going to play. I do not know what these words are. And am I giving you one word back or just an explanation?
It's up
back?
to you.
I think it's supposed to be one word, but you're not doing one word. So you do.
Just
you.
stick. Okay. Keep the stories and the anecdotes under like 2.5
Okay.
minutes.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Tyrese, rock it first.
All right. The first one is college.
College. Natty Light. Beer pong. And
The cost?
well, I was going to go deeper on that, but I would say life-changing. There you go.
Coors Light.
Coors Light is probably the most versatile beer there is. There's literally never a bad time for Coors Light. Pool, boats, beaches, golf.
Thank you, Coors Light, for sponsoring the show.
Underrated.
Underrated. Ooh. NBA players in general. Yeah.
Expand on that.
Brian Scalabrine has this great quote where he says to a random fan who's talking shit, he says, "I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me." And I could not agree with that more. We're just that much better than all of you at basketball.
Did you tell the story on the show about the kid when you were in college who challenged you?
I've told this story before, but I dated this girl at Duke for a couple years. She was from Minneapolis. So I would go up there. Yeah. I would go up there during the summer, and I would always work out. Her little brother would rebound for me. And one day this guy starts chirping. I think he was a D2 or D3 player. And I vividly remember this, but he says to me, he's like, "I know you can shoot, but I think there's no way you can take me off the dribble." And I said, "Okay, let's play make it, take it to 11. He's like, "All right, let's do it." And he, legitimate college player. It was 11-0. He didn't get the ball. I took that personally.
JJ was a nice guy in college.
Okay, I'm gonna regret, but not like your biggest regret in your NBA career.
Wow. Yeah, not life. Regret NBA career.
Not regret. Maybe something you change. I don't know.
You can't change an outcome because an outcome is out of your control. So you can change a decision. Man, I wish there was a way I could have gone back to Philly.
All right, this is going to be a foreign one for you, Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, the greatest director of all time. No surprise there.
Do you have a? So we talk about this
I
all
have
the
an
time.
obsession with things.
Yes, no, we
Yeah,
know you
I
have an
do.
obsession with this one. Is there another director whose films you've seen? Because you actually have never brought up a movie that has not been directed by him that you've talked about in any real way.
I've watched nearly all of Wes Anderson's movies multiple times. I've watched Todd Phillips movies, Martin Scorsese. Like, there's 3 directors right there.
Just asking. All right.
Staying in the Chris family, Chris Paul.
I probably shouldn't tell this story on the podcast, but I'm going to tell the story on the podcast. So, people very close to me knew that I was going to announce my retirement on Tuesday. Jason, who recorded the video. Tommy, who sat in the room with me. My wife, of course. Kylie. A few other people, my family. I called my agent. I called Coach K. And Jason and Tommy left the apartment. And I had this like weird feeling. I was like, I feel like I need to make one more call. And I realized who that call was, and it was Chris. And I called Chris, and I don't want to get emotional, but I called him, and I told him what was happening. He kind of was like, let me go outside, and inside, let me go outside. He's like, you're going to make me emotional. And what I said to him was, the only thing I would change about my career, in terms of an outcome, I wish I'd won a championship. And I said, if there's one person that I played with in my career that I could win that championship with, it was you. And I mean that sincerely. I wish it was Chris. So that's what I think of when I think of Chris.
All right. I don't know how this ended up on here, but Florida.
Chelsea. Where I met Chelsea. Yeah.
Best heckle.
Best heckle. JJ drinks his own pee. JJ drinks his own pee?
I gotta look that up. It's pretty good. I gotta look that up.
One more player before we go. We need a TJ McConnell story.
Man, a TJ McConnell story. Wow. TJ and I have all these like inside jokes. My description of wine that I don't like, I say it tastes like lentil soup. Like a chewy mouthfeel. But our little saying to each other, I told him this like probably 2 months into me being with the Sixers. I said, man, you are like the brother I never had. Except I have a little brother. But he is like he's like another little brother to me. I love TJ. Him and I talked yesterday for about 30 minutes, and I do believe by 10:30 tomorrow morning I will have a very nice bottle of wine delivered to my apartment from him.
Well said.
Patty
time?
It's Patty time. All right.
Let's do it.
This guy's been in the league 12 years. He's won a championship. He's a FIBA legend. He is, I'll tell him this to his face, but he's literally one of my favorite players. Just signed with the Brooklyn Nets on a 2-year deal. Patty Mills, let's go.
My bad. You got your cue, not me.
Did you fuck up Tyrese on purpose?
No, man, I'm just trying to
a vet-
teach him how to be on time.
That move.
I mean this sincerely. Like I just said this, but there's like players that you grew up watching that you love. For me, it was Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, obviously Michael Jordan. Then there's like your contemporaries that you acknowledge are like the greatest players in the world, Steph Curry, LeBron James, etc. And then you have sort of your favorite players, the guys you really look at and admire. And you're that guy for me. You really are. You're one of my favorite players. This is a huge honor for me to have you on the show. And also, so everybody knows, this guy literally just traveled on like 6 flights around the world and got here 3 days ago and still is doing the show.
Jet lag, just for you, mate.
So we really appreciate it. We were with one of your teammates with Australia, Matisse Thybulle, yesterday. Great kid, and we had this discussion about FIBA Patty versus NBA Patty. So I'm just going to go through a few things here. So 2012, 2016 Olympics, you averaged a little over 21 a game. 2019 World Cup, you averaged 23 a game. You had 42 points in the bronze medal game. You were on the All-Olympic team, five best players in the world basically at the Olympics. What is it that's different about Patty FIBA versus Patty NBA?
Well, I grow a few inches when I put the green and gold on, number one. That helps. Still can't dunk, though. I don't know. I think it's, you're obviously representing your country. And there's a lot that comes with that, a lot of passion, a lot of pride. And being able to be in that position, I think, you carry the weight of your country on your shoulders. And I think I enjoy that challenge, and I enjoy, being able to perform on a big stage. But I think, the biggest difference is getting to drop 40 in an Olympic medal game. That's probably the biggest difference.
I wanna ask about that, like the significance of that to you personally, and what it means to the whole country of Australia as well, to win a bronze medal.
Yeah, well, it's the first time that an Australian men's team has ever won a medal. So for us to be able to do it, really it means a lot. Obviously, for the 60, 65 years or whatever that we've been trying to get over the line, we haven't been able to. So that's number one. And I think, being the first Indigenous person to be the flag bearer for our country. And there's a lot of pride in all of that and representing your country and your people and where you're from. So I think to do both of those in the one Olympics is, I'm still trying to come down from it all, I think.
We talked with Drew a couple weeks ago about the difference in the game between the two, between the NBA and FIBA. Do you find any specific strategy points that will you play differently at all? Will you prepare differently?
Nah, not really. I mean, there are a few little rule changes. Stuff like being able to swat the ball off the rim when it's bouncing around, so you need to swish it. But I think the preparation is still the same. I think it is very physical. In that sense, it's fast as well, 10-minute quarters as well, so it's the game goes by fairly quickly. But I think the mindset and preparation is still the same, yeah.
So this brings me to sort of a broader topic about NBA players who have long careers, like you, like myself, who ultimately embrace their role. Because I think it'd be very easy, and a lot of European players, a lot of overseas players that are amazing on their national teams, amazing in EuroLeague, they come over and they're not Steph, they're not LeBron, and they can't accept that. Can you just sort of talk about that mindset shift you have to have when you come over here and you're sort of like getting pigeonholed into a role on the team you're on in the NBA versus I get to take 18 shots a game when I'm on my national team?
Yeah, I think for me spending a decade with Coach Pop and San Antonio and obviously the teammates that I had there, it's the understanding of what can you do for the betterment of the team. And I think that was where I learned a lot to come in and figure out, well, what's my one piece that I can do that's going to make the team great. And it's something that's different than what Tim Duncan does, different than what Tony Parker does and Manu Ginobili. And finding that out myself and being able to implement it, I think you feel the impact and you feel those guys feed off it. So I think it's just understanding like how to win, what you need to do to win, how to bring the group together. And I think that you got to throw your ego out the door when you're understanding the purpose and winning and championships and all that. And when you get a locker room that is all on the same page like that, it's fun basketball.
Was there ever a point in time in your career where you were sort of pining for a larger role?
Oh yeah, I think you always want to get better. You always strive to get better and want more. I think that's the natural ability of us as athletes. And after spending 10 years in San Antonio and learning what I've learned, I think, turning the page to a new chapter now, I'm really excited for. And I think that everything that I've learned I can implement now in this new chapter. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about the new chapter in a second. I do want to just mention, in regards to the Olympics, there was this amazing celebratory video of you guys singing, drinking all sorts of alcoholic beverages in the locker room. The sort of knock, or not the knock, but the sort of stereotype of an Australian male is that they like to drink heavily, party, and beat each other up. Is that accurate?
You're not wrong. No, all for good fun and games, but as you can imagine, a hell of a victory that we came back into the village. It's pissing down rain, 12:30 at night. Everyone's quiet. It's the second last day in the village, and we walk around the corner and the whole Australian team is down at the bottom of our building welcoming us back, playing Land Down Under, and here we come, fist pumping, and it's it was probably one of the top 3 highlights of the whole campaign. Yeah.
What was the scene like for you growing up as an Indigenous Australian? Because obviously, you set the stage for someone who followed you since then.
Yeah, well, I'm an island boy at heart. I grew up playing, no shoes on the dirt, and a hoop that my grandfather built for me, and then I'd go and fish and spear fish, and then eat what we catch, and that was my sort of upbringing. So, to know where I've got to now, they're I guess Indigenous Australians, Black Australians as they're known. The success rate for really anything in life isn't great. And yes, we have a lot of Indigenous Australians that succeed in their given fields, but basketball isn't any different than that. Indigenous Australians only make up 3% of the whole population. So for me to try and achieve what I can in my field, I think can be inspiring for everyone back home to at least dream it, right? Because you can't, you got to see it to believe it, and I think that's the role model that I try to be.
There's been a few articles written on some of the racism that you experienced growing up. There was an incident, I think you were at the free throw line in Cleveland a few years back, where a fan said something. That fan ultimately got a lifetime ban from the NBA. Can you just talk a little bit about that growing up, though, in Australia, and what that was like in your formative years?
Yeah, so by the time, I went to school because of what my parents done for work. They worked within the Australian government, specifically to try and better the lives of Indigenous people. So moved down to Canberra, the capital of Australia, the DC equivalent, I like to say. And there I went into school, so out of my environment that I'm used to and seeing, friends and family and everyone that essentially looked like me, now the environment changes. And I remember walking in the first day of school, me and mum, walked me to class, and the biggest guy in the room just walked straight up to me and uppercut straight to the guts and took all the wind out of me just for no other reason. And who knows what the reason was then, but it was like I was in for a roller coaster of a childhood, I guess, with these sorts of incidents. So look, I think the values that I learnt from my parents and my families was how to overcome that. And how to do it in a way that, you can learn from it, you can take these things in, you can acknowledge it, and build your character almost. So I think, sitting on a stage here in Brooklyn, I've overcome a lot of things that has helped, fuel the fire, I guess, for me to achieve certain things, and yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you if that helped you at all pre-San Antonio. So post-Portland and then the lockout and everything like that, there was a question of, is it going to work for you in the NBA? Do you feel like that sort of perseverance came from your childhood at all?
Yes, and even more so beyond that. And I think that's the Australian history, and not to take this down too deep of a road, but that's the Australian culture, the Australian history, that it is a dark place. And I think for me and what I've been able to do is just continue to educate people on Australian history. And it's not great, but it shouldn't be swept under the rug either. But, things like the stolen generation and that, which is a very, but it's a part of Australian history, so it needs to be told to be able to educate people. So, my mum was a part of the stolen generation, so it's perseverance from that's ingrained in the family. And I think I get all my strength from my mum because, I went through a lot growing up, but nothing compared to what she went through. So, yeah.
I have one last sort of Australian related. It's actually a two-part question. But when you guys are together and you're training for the national team, how long are you guys together?
Yeah, well, it was a weird year, so we weren't together very long. It was maybe 4 weeks.
Is it hard to be around Joe Ingles for 4 weeks straight?
I'm amazed it took this long to get to this question.
Well, try like 17 years. That's how long it's been with, for me and Joe. We grow up together, and he is a character, and you know, we're roommates, you know, all the time for the national team. This year was the first time that we weren't roommates, but very close with him. But I can tell, yeah, he's got to you a few times by the sounds of it.
Oh man, we talked a couple weeks ago, and he was asking me about joining Utah in January, and I was like, yeah, whatever, you know, just kind of gave him the thing. And like, a lot of people sent really nice messages yesterday. His message was, "You fucking lied to me."
Yeah, that's him in a nutshell right there.
That is him. So why Brooklyn? What was it about this situation and this opportunity that you were willing to leave? I mean, the culture that you helped build and the dynasty that you were a part of.
Yeah, yeah. When you put it like that, you know, you flash back to, yeah. Why did I leave? No, look, I think everything that I've learned from being, you know, under Pop and Timmy, Tony, and Manu, and being that bridge from, you know, what they were to now the new guys and the young guys that are there. I think, you know, there's a part of me that can still implement that, and you know, Brooklyn and the familiar faces that are around the organisation in the front office, you know, we in the locker room, I think help, but. You know, I think it's, you know, many reasons, but for me it was, you know, two things that I always look at it. It's culture, you know, when the culture of Brooklyn, you know, from the music to the arts, to the street arts, to the food, you know, that's all the stuff I look for, because I truly believe if I can, you know, this is what I'm most excited for, if I can immerse myself in the Brooklyn culture and understand the community, that's who I'm representing, you know, that's the name across the front of the jersey, and that's what really gets me going. I feel like I play my best. So. And then obviously the second part of the purpose, and the purpose is an NBA championship. And when you have that every day, and again, you get the guys together and everyone in the organisation working towards that one goal, it's, you know, it's a pretty fun feeling.
The reason you didn't get a huge applause when you talked about Brooklyn culture is because there's a lot of Philly fans in here. Just to be clear.
Yeah, we get Tease back up.
I have a question about culture. And I know Tyrese wants to follow up on this. Tyrese, did you, you know, we talk about culture with the Spurs, their big three, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan. Were you a Tony Parker fan? Did you try to emulate anything in his game? Like, I don't think people realize how good that guy was.
Well, like, I was a big LeBron fan growing up, so, like, I wasn't a big fan of this guy. But, like, yeah, man, people don't realize how good he was. Like you said, like, man, he used to give the Heat a lot of problems in the finals. Like, his floater package was ridiculous too. Like, I bet you've taken a lot away from that. And I want to ask you, like, what were your biggest takeaways from being around, you know, Pop, the culture of the Spurs, like the big three? Like, what are your biggest takeaways from, you know, your time there?
Yeah, the biggest one I would say is just the mentality of understanding that it is a marathon of a season, as you know, but the mentality is still strong each and every day, and what do we need to do, you know, well and better to win an NBA championship, and the focus never drifted, you know, and it's going to adjust as the season goes on, and adversity and all that, but I think that was you know, there was just a focus and a strong mentality that kept the whole group together. And you know, you do the off-court things of getting the group together and dinners and whatnot, that obviously helps. But it is a culture thing. I mean, the Spurs culture is what built a winning culture. And it was just, you know, very grateful to be a part of it, let alone, you know, have anything to do with it.
What were your first impressions of Pop? First time you met him?
Yeah, kind of like that, you know, Tim, Tony, Manu talk about the fatherly figure he was to them. I'm much younger than Tony, Tim, and Manu, so he was like a grandfather figure. But look, he was, my first thought, it's a scary deal, you know, you grow up understanding the Spurs culture and the elite winning culture that it is, and then you know, this young black boy from Australia gets thrown in the fire, like, figure it out, mate. And that's kind of what it was, and I had to figure it out. But it was enjoyable. At Pop, you know, I've got a lot to owe him and in my career, and what he's done for me. But yeah, there's a bag full of stories there. But look, I've enjoyed every bit of what I've learned from him.
Feel free to share any Pop stories as they come up. As they come up, you can speak out of turn, please. But I remember I may butcher the term here, but Pop called you something like a culture driver. And in your experience with the Spurs specifically, who drives the culture? Because I think there's maybe a disconnect from casuals. I like to call it casual NBA fans casuals, but there's a disconnect about who those drivers are. It's not always the best player. Sometimes it is, and I think Tim was probably an anomaly in that. Sometimes it's the coaches, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it can be role players. But in your experience, who were the culture drivers?
Yeah, look, I think Pop's obviously the one that drives the ship over there, and having someone like Timmy who allowed Pop to be that way and coach that way is an interesting mix there that complemented both of them well, but also the organisation well. And again, it's just finding pieces of the puzzle, and again, that thing of understanding what the culture is, what the Spurs culture is, I guess, and working out ways to bring everything together. And I think, I had a bit to do with it, but I think Manu Ginobili was really the one that was a big part of that culture, and understanding the locker room and understanding what it takes to bring guys. A very knowledgeable person that cared about his teammates, cared about wanting to know them on a personal level, and he's a very special character. So I learned a lot from Manu in that sense as well.
So I called Tim an anomaly, and he's probably not an anomaly because there's a few other guys like him. And by anomalies, I mean top 5 players, top 10 players currently in the NBA. Tim was that for much of his career. Steph is that now. Giannis is that now. Jokic is that now. Luka is that now. Other than Steph, a lot of those guys are not American. And Luka and I talked about this a bunch. And there's something that happens in youth sports here. I don't know what it is. But do you think that Luka's maybe onto something there? That a lot of the best players that don't have that ego issue, that aren't making things about themselves, that are participating in driving culture, are not from America?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, that's for sure. But you see Luka and you see what he does and what he's about. And again, that opportunity that you get to play for your country, represent your country, right? It's a whole nother perspective again, and a whole nother background that's brought over. That's obviously appreciated by everyone else in the organisation. So, I mean, I think there's something there for sure.
I want to play a little game of what if with you.
Oh, I love it.
But I am at the end of my career. I'm retired now, obviously. We've talked about this 3 times. And, you get to the end, and you're like, you play the what if game. I think about our series in 2014, 2015. What if Chris doesn't get hurt? No, I was going to say, what if he doesn't get hurt in Game 7? And we have him healthy against Houston. But, what if we don't blow that 3-1 lead? And you've been involved in some incredible what ifs. 2013. How often do you think about that shot that Ray Allen hit?
Yeah.
Sorry to bring up a terrible subject, but I'm just curious. You have a ring, though. You at least have a ring.
What was even more so, like the shot, is brutal. I had just had surgery on my foot, so I was in street clothes on the side. What's probably even worse than that was at a point in the 4th quarter of getting pushed in the back because the security is pulling out the yellow string of tape around to block the people from storming the court, and then being like, what is this yellow tape? And then seeing the Larry O'Brien being rolled out, and it's like, we about to win this? And then sure enough, the trophy gets rolled back into the locker room and the yellow tape goes away, and we're heading to Game 7. So that was probably the feeling, even more so than the Ray Allen shot, was feeling like, oh, we're about to win this. Nope, we're not.
Did 2014 Game 5? Did that feel like, obviously it's like redemption, but did it feel a little bit like removing demons?
Yeah, that transition from 2014 to 15 was unbelievable. Again, that focus and mentality, fuel to the fire coming back into that year was incredible. So now you go through that whole year of what we went to, and it was like, we had fresh legs going into that series. So Game 5, redemption, all of that. Now I'm throwing things up and everything's going in this, one night. And for sure it was redemption. That's what it felt like.
The other what if is in 16-17, where that was probably the Warriors' best team. They won 67 games. You guys won 61. You were, I think your plus minus, like your net differential was actually better than the Warriors that year. And you're beating the shit out of them in Game 1 in Oracle, and Zaza steps in front of Kawhi. Is that a series you ever replay in your head?
Oh yeah.
That moment?
100%. 100%. Yeah. Up however much we were up. Games of momentums, and that's the definition of a momentum changer when that happened and he goes down, and there was nothing that we could physically do to stop that momentum. But that's one game, you talk about the winning culture and all of that, and that was for sure a defining moment that when I think about it, another one that we had.
I don't mean to bring these up, I seriously don't, to put you in a bad mood. I'm just trying to get a sense of someone towards the end. I don't want to put a number on you, but you're going into year 13. Someone towards the end who's won it and who's also had a bunch of opportunities, and how you sort of frame those moments and value those different moments.
No question. To be serious for a second, it's like you learn from those moments. So yeah, I do think about it. I do replay those things in my mind. I do go back and watch certain things so I can feel what I felt back then. I think that's important because what you learn from it makes you do things differently or do things better when you get that opportunity again. So I think all of those things, Australian team too, losing to Spain in 2016 Olympics and 2019 World Cup, like all of those things you got to learn from it, because that's the only way that I think you can move forward and you can get better. So it's important to go back to those things, I think.
I was going to say the one to go back to Brooklyn for a second. Obviously, you were with Kevin this summer in Tokyo. What's it going to be like with these guys after just going into battle with them for so many different years, being teammates with them?
Yeah, well, it was unreal to be able to have the conversation with Kevin about coming to Brooklyn and just to understand how much of a pure hooper he is and talk basketball with him. It's good. It's the game. It's understanding how big the game has gotten to around the world, but to be able to compete against him and others at that elite level on an international stage, now to bring that same mentality that I had, that I'm sure he had for our countries, now into the same locker room. I think again that purpose and that driving force of what we're trying to do here and win another championship. It's exciting for sure.
All right, let's give Patty a round of applause. Thank you, man, for doing this. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're gonna, as I said, we're gonna try a little experiment here, and we're gonna do a 6-person draft.
See how this goes.
We're gonna see how this goes. All right. Let's welcome in Taylor Rooks. Also welcome in Jesus. Thank you both for being here. We greatly appreciate it.
This is a loaded crew.
Absolutely.
This is a great crew.
Thanks for having me. Also, I thought this was a Tommy dinner, so I didn't know it was a competition. Don't expect me to win.
Yeah, he's not taking it as seriously as all of us.
I'm here for the free drinks, honestly, so.
We're down to fight for this draft.
Taylor was trying to steal my notes backstage. That's all I know. I want to acknowledge one person in the crowd tonight. For anybody who follows us on Twitter and engages with us on the draft, you know that there is an individual that does a hilarious recap of every fucking draft. Literally has done this since day one. I want to acknowledge Ryan Cohen if he's in the room. Ryan, you can stand up, take a bow. There he is. Ryan. Tommy will provide the draft topic. I'm going to provide some subtext to the draft topics. But Tommy, why don't you go ahead?
So we went back and forth on a bunch of different topics for tonight. The place where we landed with a big crew like this is moments in American history that you wish Twitter was around for.
With a caveat.
With a caveat, number one, we're going to try to keep things light, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to try.
We're going to try.
JJ's been stressing about this for the last.
Is it only American history? Like,
No.
any Australian acceptable?
I feel like it can kind of be world. I have some that are
We'll
world
see.
but applied to
Listen,
America.
we'll see. Let's try it. We'll see what
Okay.
the group thinks.
Also, you got to remember the American school system. We don't know what U.S. is. So you can say whatever.
I feel like we have a lot of guests that come on, and Tommy's very guilty of this as well, who don't draft on topic. Taylor, I don't think you've ever done that before.
don't.
I also want to acknowledge, by the way, we've gotten a little bit of pushback on Twitter from a specific podcast who I guess this is all they do for a podcast.
It turns out we didn't invent drafting random stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that we did. I thought it was like
Which is
a
fine.
completely novel idea,
Yeah,
but I guess we did.
It's not trademarked. Also, I know the guy who hosts the podcast. We're friends. He doesn't fucking care. And then secondly, I'm doing research for this particular draft. I realized that Barstool and PMT and those guys did this exact topic on Mount Rushmore. So
But
this is a
gonna be
very
better.
unnovel.
Ours is going to be
concept.
better though, so it's fine.
All right, we're going to do 4 picks instead of 5 just to keep it moving a little bit. My draft order is right here. We got Patty going first. Guest always goes first, so Patty.
I want you to look at that. He has a notebook. Okay? Your man has a notebook. We got nothing. So
We're going Patty, Desus,
and a pen.
Taylor, Tyrese, me, JJ, and then we're snaking it.
Perfect. Throw the Australian in the fire first.
Yeah. Start it up.
First one, I'm going to go with Janet and Justin Popatidia performance, also known as Nipplegate.
I was gonna pick that. I'll erase it.
Patty's planting the flag.
That was good. That was good.
Well done. Well done.
Oh, is it my turn?
You're 2. I'm 3.
Goddamn. All right. Now, I did not research this enough, but if you know the greatest team in basketball, the Knicks, we out here. Wow, someone's not getting support for their choice. Okay. On December 4th, 1997, the National Basketball Association suspends Latrell Sprewell for choking out Warriors coach P.J. Carlesimo.
I mean, I feel like this is like the obvious one. I'm surprised you guys didn't do it. But if Twitter was around for O.J. Simpson, and I mean
what part,
like
though?
the
What
car
part?
chase, the
You
trial,
gotta pick one. You
all
gotta
of
pick
it.
one.
I don't know. I think
get all of it.
I can't do all of it?
You
All
gotta
of it?
pick one.
Okay, the car chase.
The car chase.
Absolutely.
Car
You would
chase.
be live tweeting that.
Also, it interrupted an influential game for what team?
Knicks.
Next tape, you know the
Lucky
vibes.
for
Jerk.
you.
The Rockets won the series.
Wow. What was the name of the podcast that hates the show? I want to give him a quick plug.
Okay, with the 4th pick, I'm probably going to take Jesse Owens, shattering the 200-meter record in the 1936 Olympics.
Love it.
I think
That's a good pick.
Can you imagine Twitter?
Oh, it'd be sick.
It would be a crazy.
Also, it's hilarious.
I'm-
Tommy is critiquing anyone's draft because Tommy is the worst drafter.
Worst drafter.
Yeah.
Worst drafter.
Okay. I can't believe this lasted this long. I'm going August 2nd, 1776. The signing of the Declaration of Independence. That was my first pick.
He should have like an album drop that day. Like, I was like, was that when
I
Jay-Z
feel like
dropped Blueprint?
the discourse around the Declaration of Independence would have been amazing.
It's like, Tommy, there's a reason that lasted that long. No one wants it.
Wow. I love how backstage everyone was like, yo, you're going to steal my... Like, no. Not even on the radar.
Not bad. I thought you'd start.
Pressure's on. You got 2.
Not where I thought you'd start. All right. Obvious number 1 choice here, Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Okay. Good one.
And then, this is Taylor, this is the one I had backstage where
Okay, I'm
I'm like,
ready.
this would have been awesome that night. Would be like December 31st, 1999, Y2K. That would have been sick.
Yeah, Y2K.
Wow. I feel like you stole that from me.
Good. 2 good picks.
Probably
You
did.
probably did,
He
right?
hacked my phone.
I'm going sports for the second one. I think that June 11, 97, MJ's flu game. I was trying to think of the right Jordan moment for this, and I think the flu game, conspiracy theory wise, everything around it
Absolutely.
would have been crazy.
Yeah,
Good
I
one.
think it's a good 5th round
It's
pick.
a good one.
It's early. It's real early. Really early.
I'm not
A
gonna
lot of
say.
other Jordan stuff.
I'm not gonna say anything because I told you this in the back. Every time we draft, Tommy makes a bad pick. You say something, and I agree with you. So I'm leaving him alone for now.
Liza doesn't
And
like
he
it.
thought it was the best pick of all time. He's like, you guys, I can't believe this slipped to me.
I actually can't believe I got to. No, Terry's pick a pick.
I love if it was 2 a.m. We'd be like, yo, Tommy, that's such a great pick, bro. Come up with such good picks, bro. How do you do them?
I promise you, it's number 1 on his big board.
It is.
But we're gonna let it go.
Number 1.
My second pick, I'm gonna talk about Hurricane Katrina relief. Kanye West looks in the camera and says, George Bush does not care about black people.
That's a good
Yeah.
All right.
It's good.
Is it my turn?
Is
December.
it?
No.
Yeah, no.
Taylor's up.
It's me.
Taylor's up.
Yeah, trying to
That's
steal
why I
my
have a
pick.
notebook.
Okay, Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
Good one.
Yeah!
That's a
That would
good
have
one.
been insane. Tanya, public enemy number 1. Yes. Beat that.
Beat that. The Titanic.
Number 3 on my big
All right. And you're like, how will we deal with the Titanic?
Now we gotta go.
The Titanic is just Fry Festival on a
Now we
boat.
gotta go.
Okay?
Oh my God, the memes.
The memes will be sick.
The memes.
All right.
The memes. What do you say? Let's get one more drink in the bar before we.
Patty, you got 2.
I got 2.
Yeah.
Just crossed the line.
Marilyn Monroe singing Happy Birthday to JFK in front of Jackie, his wife.
Good one.
Not bad for an Australian, right? Next one would be 2001 American Music Awards. The all denim outfit, Justin and Britney. All denim.
I like you got 2. You got 2 Timberlake picks out of the 3.
Yeah, Justin fan.
Big pop culture guy. Big pop culture guy.
Who's next?
All right, Jesus is up.
Oh, I'm up again? All right. I have no more sports stuff, so I'm going something deep and cultural. Some of y'all might not remember this. When the Macarena had America in a death grip. Okay? We were doing it everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere. It was at sports games. It was at graduations, at funerals. They did it at the Democratic National Convention. We survived that.
Can you imagine the TikToks?
Can you wait for
Of the
Drake to bring it
Macarena?
back later this year?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay. When Mary gave birth to Jesus and said she never had sex before.
USA! USA! USA!
What is more American than a white Jesus? Okay, like this is American history. That counts. That counts.
We're letting that go?
Listen, it's Taylor. When Taylor gets what she wants, we gotta let it go. We're letting that go. We're counting it. It's
I'm gonna
That
put
counts.
a big
Counts.
Thank
I'm
you.
literally
That counts.
writing down an asterisk.
It's fine.
No,
Taylor, you
there's
know the
no
rules.
asterisk. No,
fine.
it's a
Just
good
let
pick.
it rock. Let it rock.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know
good
what?
pick.
Just Jesus born in
See
Hoboken.
what, yeah, we'll see what Ryan thinks after this. We'll see what Ryan thinks after this.
Oh, here we go, Tommy.
Oh my. Okay. With my third pick, I'm gonna go with June 19th of 1865. The slaves get freed. Like, imagine Twitter.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Brother, the 3 of us said we were not going to put the crowd through that tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a bad pick?
It's a good pick.
Should I take it back?
No, like yours have been very like historical.
Should I take it back? I'll take it back.
No, you got.
No, you say it. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the guy on stage be like, take back when the sprays got sleep. Like, that's not me.
So we're moving on.
That's not
You
me.
already picked it.
What is Abe Lincoln's tweet? He's like, it's done.
It's done. No, it's like, y'all won.
All right. I mean, if we're busting out Titanic, I'm going Pearl Harbor.
That's not the same, Tommy.
I think Pearl Harbor.
No, wait, before y'all boo.
No one's recording.
I want y'all to
this, right?
fully
No one's
boo.
recording.
Me and Tommy went to Pearl Harbor like 2 years ago. We did not realize how sad that place is.
Really sad.
What's wrong with you,
Twitter would
brother?
have been wild. This isn't. It's not most fun moments. It's just moments Twitter would have been craziest. Twitter would have been crazy during Pearl Harbor. That's a fact. That's an objective.
No. You guys see what I was talking about?
Tommy.
Hold on,
Patty, listen to Hawaii. Thoughts?
I want to say one thing real quick. We had a team huddle backstage. We all agreed, right? I sat up here in front of all these wonderful people. I said, we're going to keep it light. We may toe the line like he did with Titanic, but we're going to keep it light.
Why is
And
Titanic
you
light?
just went over the line.
Because the movie version of Titanic was better than the movie version of Pearl Harbor.
Fair. That's true. That's true.
All right, I wanted to draft Duke, Kentucky Elite Eight in 1992, the last spot. But I'm going to go with a different college basketball moment. I'm going to go with Chris Webber's timeout.
That's a good one. That's a really good
I was
one.
thinking about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I hate to do this to the guy, but I'm going to go with Tiger. Shit, it was after 08. I was going to say Tiger Woods' car crash.
No, you can't.
No, the first one. And everything that happened
Just
after.
like that just happened.
I'm not going to say that.
Boo, boo.
He went over it.
I'll go the Rain of
Went over.
Bobbin. The Rain of Bobbin.
Lorena Bobbitt. Do you want to explain that to the crowd?
What is that?
Tyrese was too young for that. Explain it.
A lot of the crowd was too young for that, bro.
Wait, y'all don't know what happened with the Rain of Bobbin?
Yeah, story time.
Oh, okay. She cut her husband's penis off.
Well, he kind of assaulted her because he was cheating on her. Then she cut his penis off, and then she drove a little away from the house and threw it down the incline. So the cops had to find it. After he got reattached, I think he did like a movie or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a Lifetime
so-
movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie actually.
He probably did.
All right, I got a lot of options. I'm going.
Oh God.
Too many options.
I gotta pick this just because I'm picking the moon landing. I feel like the moon landing would have been really interesting. Turning things around.
Things got dark. Things got really dark.
Your turn.
I don't know. Honestly, I get confused every
I'm
time.
confused too.
Tyrese,
Okay, whose turn is it?
It's my turn.
Tyrese,
Yeah,
then
Okay.
Taylor, then Jesus, then back to Timberlake for Patty.
These are our final picks, right? These are
Yes.
number 4.
Yes.
The
Final picks.
problem
We're
is,
doing 5 now. We're actually doing 5.
yeah,
Oh, we're doing
we're doing
five.
5, right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
doing
There's so many.
Yeah, we're doing
All right, my fourth pick, I'm gonna do Michael Jackson's first moonwalk.
Oh, okay. All right. Someone's trying to win. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see it.
Me? It's me? I think it's you. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Salem witch trials. Twitter would have gotten so many women killed for no reason. Definitely Salem
Can we
witch
get a date
trials.
check on that, please?
No, I believe
1600s.
that was in the United States. It was here. Right?
Yeah, I mean there was definitely no Twitter.
Right?
Wait.
Like what?
Okay. Damn, everyone's doing like classic historical mine
Because
is,
Twitter loves mess. It's
Right.
like whatever is messiest is the best.
Yeah, wasn't it
one.
Salem-
yeah, that's kind of why I picked my next one because Twitter loves mess. Mine is Joey Buttafuoco and Amy Fisher. Y'all remember that?
I don't remember
Back
that.
in the 1990s, it was like he was cheating on her and then she shot the wife in the face. But he was like the big Italian, hey, that other guy. So, and then
Okay.
he wore the pants that young, older people wore.
Very New York. It's very New York pick.
Okay.
But good.
All right,
All right, Patty, you got 2 to close it out.
I'm running a bit thin here, but I'm going to go with the premiere of Space Jam 1.
I like it.
I like that.
A little bit.
You got another one, Patty?
We're going 5.
Oh.
Are we going 5? Well, geez, all right. I don't know if this is well known or not because I learnt the fact today, but in 18, yeah, hope it's true. In 1840, when the Brooklyn Bridge was built, they tested it by putting 38 elephants on the bridge.
That's true.
It is true?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is that a good one?
That's honestly one of the best picks of the whole draft.
Yeah.
Those TikToks.
I think it's something, I'm not exactly sure on the history, but it's like a woman built it, or a woman was in charge of it, so they didn't believe that it was going to be sustainable, so they tested it with elephants.
38 elephants.
Look at that.
Boom.
Still standing.
The date's a little off by like 38 years, but it's that other part's right.
It's a good one.
Close.
Shout out to women and elephants and bridges.
All right, Jesus, close it out.
This was a crowd favorite. Y'all remember December 16th, 1773? What happened then?
Boston Tea Party.
Boston Tea Party. Yeah. I don't know if that was a good thing as a New York Yankee fan or what, but we threw tea in the river or something. So fuck it.
I was not prepared for 5, and I'm going back and forth.
Taylor, I have a request for you. Can this be in the last like 200 years, 300 years?
Wow.
You should worry about your draft.
Wow.
Okay, I am going to pick. This is not the past 200 years.
Go for it.
It's like literally the beginning of time. The Big Bang.
Wow.
All of a sudden we're here. Imagine Twitter that day.
I don't even know what to say. I just don't know what to say. Let's just move on.
I think technically it does fit in, right?
It's American, like Pangea,
It's a historical event.
all of it.
We've all bent the rules a little bit tonight, I think.
All right, Tyrese, close it. Tyrese is so mad right now. He's so mad. He's never gonna do another. Like he's like Taylor's banned from all drafts.
No, I love it. I love it.
My
I
draft
just,
is so good.
it is, but like the number 1 pick should have been like the resurrection of Jesus. But we'll let it go. My 5th pick. I know I'm a big like WWE fan. I'm kind of a nerd that way. People thought Undertaker killed mankind, threw him off the Hell in a Cell. I'm going for my 5th pick. Probably a bad pick, but sentimental value.
Solid pick. All right, my 5th pick, February 11th, 2006. Duke versus Maryland. JJ's senior year against Maryland. He played really well. He had a great game with 35 points. The memes, Twitter during
So quiet in here right now.
Twitter during the JJ era, the JJ Duke college era, would have been amazing. It would have been amazing.
This is a brilliant strategy.
Even JJ is like, no.
This is a brilliant strategy.
JJ, do you remember that game?
Yeah. I did.
Okay.
It was at Maryland. I think I had 11 in the first half, 24 in the second half. I had a stretch early in the second half where I had like 12 straight points. Bunch of and ones. It was great.
Do you remember some of the signs?
Yeah. No, by then Maryland wasn't very good then. Tommy, that is honest to God the worst fucking pick. You had so many things at your disposal. Man, I know I offended some people with the last one. I'm going to go simple. I'm going to go Mike Tyson biting off Evander Holyfield's ear. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
You got the cutting the penis and the biting the ear.
We're supposed to do no violence, but I think we crossed that. We crossed that.
With Pearl Harbor.
We do. I just want to thank everybody up here for being a part of this. I want to thank you guys. We greatly appreciate not just tonight, but your support of the show, listening to the show, all engagements on social. That's why we do it. Again, you got to have an audience to have a podcast. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. That's a wrap. That's like a wrap. Y'all can get up. You can leave. You can do whatever you want.